Hello, welcome to the first episode of Hug Your Metrics. I'm your host, Leo Chen, and I'm with your co-host, Angel.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Hey, Angel, I know folks probably will ask, there's so many podcasts, why do we need to create another one?
Yeah, so the name Hug Your Metrics really stems from the fact that as VPs and directors of marketing, you're going to be in the weeds of the metrics almost every day, right? And so we really want to just zoom out and take a look at, okay, well, what do those metrics mean? How can we actually make educated decisions from that? And that's really the premise of it. Like, we want people to walk away from these episodes with actionable insights instead of just fluff being for 30 minutes straight.
Exactly. I think we all been through so many podcasts that is so long-winded, where there's a lot of promotion, a lot of self-talk, and a lot of fluff. And we don't want this one to be like that. This is going to be sort of a safe space for folks who are practicing marketers, our colleagues. We're going to bring up to the show where they can truly share a little bit about what they are working on, and hopefully a lot of the stuff will benefit what you are doing as a listeners. And
It's marketing therapy.
Yeah, without further ado, I also just wanted people to know, we really want to set a tone of being helpful. And speaking of which, in today's topic, we want to discuss about Facebook ads. Angel, I don't know about what you hear. I work for a lot of clients. When I mention Facebook to them, they typically say, "Oh, Facebook don't work anymore." I recently was working with a fence company. They don't even have a Facebook page set up. Swear to God. So that's exactly what we are gonna actually talk about today. We want to hopefully be able to provide some strategy and ins and outs, especially explaining the areas where some of the misconception about Facebook ads from in 2025. And we also are going to pick this memory care center as the niche that we are going to cover. And there's a couple of reasons why we do that. First of all, it's a very specific niche, and it's actually been around for a while. And for old industry like this one, folks tend to rely more on traditional media and old approach that they have been familiar with, and also because it's a niche, which is a good relevance for us to talk about the segmentation and targeting in Facebook, so that how we can relate it to that. And you'll see why the targeting is really important to the success of Facebook ads.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's the main goal that I want people to also take away from this episode is that Facebook ads usually 99% of the time is probably not the issue. It's usually the strategy or your approach to Facebook ads, right? Because the way I like to always think about it is that Facebook ads is really just, it's a platform that you are going to advertise on, right? Like, paid ads is the amplification of what is. So whatever is going on, paid ads, you're just adding fire to the fuel. You're gasoline to the fire, or whatever it may be, right? And you're just taking whatever ad or offer or whatever you're offering to people in your market, and you're amplifying it, right? So it's usually not going to be the platform. The platform is just putting your ad in front of people. And so if you don't have the right strategy, that's where that friction actually comes in. And that's where people have the hardest time, I would say.
Absolutely, yeah. So in this show, we're gonna break it down for you guys in these areas. So we're gonna starting out with Angel's gonna touch a little bit about the targeting, why it matters, and then we're gonna lead into the creative and some of the process, how you can actually execute on your end today. So Angel, do you want to just starting with the targeting side where folks might actually got it wrong?
Yeah, so this is the interesting thing about the memory care space, right? Which is that you're actually not advertising directly to the people that are going to be residents. You're actually advertising to the children, or the husband. Basically, the people have loved ones, and those are the people that you're actually marketing to. Those are your ICP, your ideal customer profile, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, the main thing that I find is that a lot of people will try to create advertisements just directly to the adults or the residents that's going to be staying there. And that's important 100%, because you want to get them on board, right? They're involved in the decision-making process. But ultimately, it's going to be the loved ones of that resident that are actually going to be making the decision. And so I find that a lot of people are they're not advertising to those people.
So what you're saying is actually the wrong target.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this is a very important part. This is why we go back to say this is a niche that we want to specific talk about. It's memory care center. We're not talking about senior living, and this is a mistake I see pretty much across the board every time I take on a client in this vertex, that their Google ads almost always will have senior living, as a keyword there, because they're sort of thinking, oh, it's all inclusive. But this is where most advertiser truly got it wrong, as Angel was saying here, that folks who are actually making the decision are not the patient themselves.
Yeah, and it's even more important because it's like, all right, residents, they're gonna have certain things that they want, right? And then they're gonna have their own pain points, and they're gonna have their own concerns and objections that need to be handled. The loved ones, the people that are also part of that decision-making process, they're also going to care about other things, right? So for example, they're going to be caring about, hey, I want to make sure that my mom has things to do, or let's just use the mom, for example. Like, I want to make sure that my mom has things to do, right? I want to see a community that's not just bland and dry, like I want there to be pickleball or walking groups around. Like when I go tour the property, I want to make sure that there's people walking around, so that's like one thing that a loved one will care about. Maybe the parent actually doesn't really want to do that. They're just like, oh, that'll be nice, that'd be cool to do. But maybe they're more concerned about the food options. What am I going to be eating there, right? So all these different pain points need to be properly addressed. And that's because in our second part that we're going to be leading into is that you need to make sure that you're talking to the right people, because you need to make sure that your creative actually matches what those people care about.
Yeah, I think you brought up a good point, Angel. I think we marketers tend to have a big ego, and we tend to think that we create a perfect ad, we define some audience, now we serve them and they're going to see the ad, and now we look at conversion rate. Well, Facebook really is not quite like that. On the surface it is, and this is where a lot of people actually get around. They actually think they can go in there, really control every single thing, like you find a perfect profile of the person you're looking for, but then you serve them a terrible ad that actually speaks nothing to them, right? And this is something I'm kind of want to leaning into about creative ideas, right? So when you are getting into the Facebook advertisement, you have to think about the number one important thing, and this is not just Facebook, it's for Google Ads as well, it's attention economy, right? So we are all shorting attention, and it's getting shorter and shorter. People are scrolling. So you have to really put yourself and your ad in the shoes or the thumbs of the user, right? As they are scrolling so fast on the screen, your ad have literally a nanoseconds to get their attention, right? And that's what we are really coming down to. So when you create creative, I want to say number one rule is that literally down to the first pixel, the first soundbite that your ad is going to bring into the audience experience, you want to consider, is it giving you the best position to talk to the audience? And I think most, I guarantee, if you just go online, you'll find so many ads are so bad. Like you see, I'm talking about the typical corporate B-roll. These are very slow motion, nicely. You got
look at the facility.
Gimbal. Yeah, you got the gimbal movement, like people are smiling, people are hugging, and it's so staged, right? And you got some, classic music running on the background, sounds like a master class, We are tired and sick of that. And I think like this industry, when they are worried about mom's safety, stress, and like the last thing they need is for y'all to serve them another one of those like shiny, beautiful, slow moving things that looks pretty but has truly absolutely nothing to do with them, right? So this is what Angel and I actually are really hopping and trying to get our clients to buy in, and this idea of authenticity in your ads. We all really need to take a step back, like as a marketer, as a producer of content, how is your information actually authentically, relevantly, and clearly able to focus the message and truly address the pain that your consumer, your audience are experiencing. That is what actually needs to be resolved in the creative.
Yeah, and you know it's funny too. Like one of the ads and the types of creatives that is performing the best, even for me, is these text only style ads. So I really don't have to like I could create ugly ads and like the ads will
Yeah,
literally
yeah,
just be a black background with white text, and I just make sure, like, this is what I was saying, it's like if I can connect what that person or the ICP, so the loved ones of the residents, if I
yeah.
can connect their pain point to the creative that I have the highest likelihood of that person going, oh, you know, that's interesting. Let me kind of look more into that, right? And
Yeah,
it may not be like the best hook, right? Like just having white text and black. I kind of think it actually is because, like you mentioned, like in this day and age, you're seeing more shiny ads and B-roll and like just really nothing
I,
to
I
it.
I think it's got the magic of like kind of like cut the cut the noise and just literally
Yeah,
serve it
straight
to
to the
you,
point.
like literally just serve it to you, like
Yeah.
you're looking for safety, like I remember one of the ad I'm running for this facility out in Texas, and we were running a bunch of ads along with people who often go to a place for mom, like the refer site. And basically we serve the ad in that exact same style, and we just simply said that you don't have to do it alone, we are the professional and we are here for you, right? And that message resonates with a lot of people, and it's not like Hollywood production of some like staged people crying, like none of that. It's just literally a very straightforward messaging, and our text on the ad, it was just literally describing, in this facility we're really providing these things, and just tell them like, it's a family style, it's being around, and just have folks come check it out for themselves. We're not trying to sell them anything. We just like come check it out and experience it yourself.
Yeah. One thing I'm wondering about on the creative side, because I think a lot of people probably don't, they realize this, but they don't realize it to the extent that I think they should. What do you feel like is the difference for creating ads on Google Ads versus Meta? Because Google is more like responsive search, and then Meta is more like
Yeah, 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 for
images,
sure.
videos.
So I think it's becoming more apparent even this year. So in Google, you really have to think Google. It's a proactive search, right? They already know what they want, so they just go there and look for the results they already put in. Whereas Facebook, you don't have that layer to start, right? Usually it's more that you scroll, and depending on how often you pause in some of the scrolls, Facebook system determine what your interests are. So it's really more this idea of creative actually finding you, not the other way around, right? So that's why it is so important to make sure that your ad is authentic, relevant, and it's also really need to be clear. Like you are a memory care facility, helping people with Alzheimer's, Huntington disease, truly need 24/7, care, safety. It's absolutely different from senior living. It's just different. So you have to have your message very clear about that. And you also, which is the next Angel, and the next phase we sort of want to, like, I'm actually really excited about talking about it. It's like how do you actually go from an ad to a lead, right? And I think it's the point here is the conversion information, right? So if you like, let's just pause here for a second. Like, Facebook doesn't know you. Facebook, quite honestly, doesn't care about you. Like, doesn't care about any of us. Facebook just have data, right? A machine, a system. So at the end of the day, when you're working within Facebook system, you want a lead funnel where there is a good interest, where talk to your audience, but then there's interaction, and then, but more importantly, you have results where you can feedback to the algorithm, so that down the road that it will actually grow on its own. And one of the things that Angel and I actually like a lot, and we often recommend to our client, is to utilizing this instant lead form. Angel, would you say like this is one that is so underutilized everywhere that like you talk to?
Yeah, like not only do I find that it's underutilized, I find that it's misused, right? So a lot of people will have tried it out. Like so many people I've talked to say, "Yeah, I tried instant lead forms and they got me terrible quality." And it's like, okay, well, what were you doing on the leads? Because you got to really think about it. Like when I think about the fact that okay, if you were to send people to a regular landing page, why is it that quote unquote there's more qualified people that fill out the form on that page, but if it's an instant lead form, you're not getting quality people, right? And that question kind of popped in my mind. I'm like, why is that such a big difference? It's like all they're doing is just going to the website. Like there's no difference. And I find that what most people are not doing is that they're using Meta's basically standard settings, right? So they're not really asking detailed questions. They're not asking questions that will allow me to filter out people that are qualified and not qualified. They're also using the setting where it's for more volume, which means that you're not actually even creating that landing page experience in the instant lead form, right? And that's the rich creative setting. So I find that it's more often than not that it's not that people are not using it. It's a lot of times that they tried it, didn't get the results that they wanted because they didn't have the correct settings. And then they just throw their hands up and say, oh, this doesn't work. It gives me bad quality leads.
Dude, I totally agree with you. And I think I would even throw another one in there. Like it's called instant form leads because it's you are on Facebook and it's just serve you right there as you are doing and it's literally there, right? And if you are not creating any gas stuff, like say, okay, I get it, you're interested, but I also want to make sure you know what I'm offering, right? I think a
Yeah.
lot of people are just so lazy. They just like, sweet, I love this. Let's just get them all, right? But the thing is, like, man, you got to think about the down pipeline, right? Your salespeople are gonna be dealing with all these people that they don't have the resource for, right? And like for us, this memory care industry where there is limited beds around, there a lot of people need help. We really want to bring in folks actually need help. So it's so critical. Go back to what Angel was saying earlier. It's so critical that you started your instant lead form, but your form is another asset. Treat it almost like your brand. Like you really want to walk folks through and also filter people out. I think that's an important part. I think a lot of people don't do this conditional question ability. Really quick, what that is like it allows you to create a set of questions you can ask. So in this case, you could ask them like, "Are you looking for yourself, or are you looking for your loved ones?" Right? And actually, sometimes if you see people looking for themselves, it might actually not be high quality lead. And I know this might be a little sensitive topic to talk about, but like the data actually suggests people who are looking for themselves often do not become residents. um, or you can ask them like, when are they ready to move in, or are they just exploring? Maybe geographic information. Are they in the area? Things like that. These are all gonna help you score your lead quality, right? Because out of Facebook instant lead, you're not gonna be short of lead volume. I mean, I can tell you right now, like my campaign, we just literally run some of the simplest thing. We are getting result at like $27 per results, and we have to slow it down because we're getting so many already, even with all these like additional questions added, right? So, highly recommend that you should really adding more buffer into qualify your folks before you bring them in. But once you bring them in, and I want to leave this last portion to last, but also the most important thing, wouldn't you agree? Like perhaps like I think if you ask 99% of marketers out there, they will all agree with you. Like we can get lead, that's not a problem. We can get
Yeah.
clicks, we can get traffic, but we lots of people don't know how to do that last bit of the journey. Like, do you
Yeah.
want to talk a little bit about that, Angel? Because you're an
Yeah.
expert in this.
Yeah. It's like no one cares. Like this is what I've just found all throughout my career, which is like, yeah, we can get leads, right? Like as marketers, it's pretty easy to get leads, but it's about what are those leads turning into customers, right? And in this case, are those leads turning into residents? Are these leads turning into actual move-ins, right? Into the community. So if you don't have an actual process to take that lead and convert them into a customer, then you're doing this all for nothing, right? And you're gonna have like that's where the numbers of cost to acquire a customer or cost to move in, cost of resident. I don't know what the specific term is, but I use cost to acquire a customer, which is CAC, right? It's the most universal one. If you don't have control over this step, you're going to see that your CAC is going to be super high. And this is usually the point where that CAC will be the highest. So you need to have, this is the one pro tip that I'll just give like straight away, right? Which is that whenever a lead comes in, my process is usually I want to get to that person as fast as possible. I want to have some point of touch, whether that is an SMS. Of course, an SMS is going to go out to like confirm, hey, appreciate you filling out the form, etc. Right? I want to allow them to book that calendar meeting easily. So, hey, we got your information. It seems like you're a fit. You click on this next link. It's going to take you over to a calendar page, and you're going to be able to book that tour. Right. So make it super easy. And then within 5 to 10 minutes of them actually filling out the form, I actually want to call them. Like I'm gonna call them because I've had the greatest success off of calling people super fast.
Man, but I think this is where most of the companies are having issues. Wouldn't you say? Like I talked to so many clients, like I think where they all feel great about everything until you say, oh, you actually gotta call them.
Please, yeah.
Right. You actually gotta call them, talk to them, and actually listen to them like as a real customer, understanding their pain, right? And time to lead, and the ability. And I think that's where, if you are actually going out there trying to work with an agency, that's something I would personally recommend you check with the agency, ask them, are they actually able to support with the whole core side? This is why Angel and I love what we do, because we find this is one of the biggest weaknesses a lot of the agency couldn't do. But we love that. We love to actually go the ins and outs of what is going through that last stretch, and that help folks close the loop on truly getting the lead to customers.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, what the current process is right now and what happens is that you'll get a lead, right? And there may be like a follow-up. There may be like a confirmation of things, right?
Yeah.
But there'll be like some emails that go out or something like that, right? But let's be real. Open rates are probably going to be at 20%, 30%. Right?
Yeah.
So a lot of these people are not even seeing that.
It's like hiding behind a computer, right? You need to lean in, and then you need to, those who do and have I really believe that those who do and have a strong process, either utilizing external resource or internally, it's gonna do well, along with all the automated process that we will cover in this show as well. Angel, I think we are actually coming to close to the time of our episode here. I want to maybe cover very quickly about what we just talk about here, just so that you can go back to this and this. I know we just fly through a bunch of like really good nuggets. I just want to make sure I go through there and mention this. So we Angel and I really covered a lot about Facebook, and we use the memory care facility as an example to really emphasizing to be successful 2025 in Facebook. You truly want to come back to basic, your targeting. And the targeting, I'm not talking about gigantic targeting, right? Your niche. And then after that, you want to make sure your messaging is authentic. Let's actually keep it real and be able to speak directly to the decision makers' fear. And I think like if you are able to addressing their pain points and leading them to the lead form, and then the rest, as Angel is saying, like don't just hope it'll just close itself out, then I think you'll do great.
Yeah, have a sales process. I think is like one of the most important parts. But yeah, keep it real. Speak directly to decision makers. Use instant lead forms, and also use the rich creative setting. Like that's like the most important part, because it creates that landing page. It creates that landing page experience. So use that, and then follow up like it's your job, because the deal isn't closed yet, right? They just became a lead, and a lead means almost nothing. It means something, but it's not a closed deal. So you gotta go after it.
Sweet. With that, I think we are gonna end this episode. Hack your metrics. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Absolutely. See you guys later.